In this video, we'll talk about various security aspects of OfficeClip. So first thing we have is you can type the login and password to enter into OfficeClip. So that's the first gate. And if you have a site with SSL certificate installed, then the communication between the client and the server will be encrypted. So let's go inside. And there are other two security levels in OfficeClip. The first one is called roles privileges. In the role privileges, what you can do is you can put a group of users in a particular role, and then you can restrict certain access to those roles. For example, you can say that salespeople or people in the sales role cannot access import or export from the accounts. So similarly, you can put other things, like you can say that people will, some new employee role will not be able to delete any accounts. So things like that. So that is called roles privileges. There is another privilege called access permission. We call it access permission. Now what is access permission? Now we see here in account we have only one account here. Now there could be, in a typical case, there could be like hundreds or thousands of accounts. Now you want certain employees or certain people in certain roles will not have access to certain accounts with certain properties. For example, we had a customer who had agents in different areas like Chicago, Atlanta, New York, and this customer did not want the employees in Chicago should be able to see the accounts for the employees in New York, so that they don't compete with each other. So that is one of the function you can use here in order to achieve it. So we have it's called access permission. Now in order to change the permission for an individual account, you can of course go to the change permission here, and then you can select either a role. It will show you all the roles and all the users, and you can say, hey, I don't want salespeople to see this particular account. So what you do is you click on this. Actually, sometimes you don't have access here to change. The reason is that because it is inherited permission, so it is assigned somewhere else and it is coming through. So inherited permission you can only see, but you cannot change it. Actually, I'm sorry, I did a wrong. Here you can click on the edit button here to change it. So you can change it, of course, even if it is inherited, you can change it. So at a lower level you can change it. So that means I'm going to go through this a little bit later. So at this level, so that means nobody in this role will be able to see this particular account, okay, this particular account. Now there are certain exceptions, of course, okay. You cannot stop an administrator from seeing anything or do anything in the system. If you have watched this movie called Matrix, they are like agents, administrators like agents. They can go in and out from any piece of the software and can do anything. So that's why we call them administrators. Okay, let's go back and put it back again. So what the read means here, that the salespeople, when they can only read information created by somebody else. Okay, but if it is their own information, they created a contact or they created an account, they can have all the permissions to their account. Of course, the administrators can stop it. So this can be done at the individual contact level. This can also be done at a level of a bulk level. The way it can be done in the bulk level is you go to the administration and then you create an access rules. We call it access rules here. So in the access rule you can say that, okay, we have created this, let's create an access rule that people in Atlanta, city of Atlanta, you put them into certain role. Okay, so only the contacts in those or account in those roles will be seen by those people, and only administrators can see everything else. So that's how it works, and we have some videos here. You can take a look at it once you get into it, and it will explain how this whole thing works. But in this video I'm going to give you a quick overview. I don't want to go into details on each and every screen. So let's go into settings and let me show you how this all can be set up. So in the three things we have: organization settings, my profile and entire site. Depending on what type of access you have, you can see one or all of it. So let me show all the things here. So let's explain what are the roles and how the roles can be set. I can click on manage role. Right now I have 3 roles here. Now first role is all the users, means all users of the organization will have these roles. Okay, so you cannot restrict them to do, means you cannot restrict anybody from this organization, so you don't even have access to like adding users to this role. What you have access is here, this will come in there. We can control the role privileges of all the users. Now administrators of the current organization, you can have put only certain people in this administration to be administrator. In order to do that, you have to just click on here and then go over here and move the people who you want to be administrator here, and then click on save. Okay, so let's go to back to the list. Okay, let's come over here. Okay, now these are the roles. Okay, now let's find out, let's go into one role which we have created. Now these 2 roles are basically, they are available already in the system. This role you cannot just control much. This role you can control who can be in this role. Okay, let's see one role which I just created before this demo, and we have a user here. So let's now go in here and check up who can be in this role, how to control that. Okay, so these are the people who will be in this role as I have shown. I can add one more person in this role. Okay, so by clicking in here, right, I'm not going to save it, so it won't be there. So go back there again. Okay, now this is another thing we have here is role privileges. What are role privileges? Now, as I had told you that this we can control certain privileges from the salespeople, that they can do certain things, they cannot do certain things. For accounts, we have these few privileges. Okay, so if you can remove this, okay, you say that, hey, people who are in the sales role cannot edit an account. They can add an account. Of course, what it means is that if they created an account, they can of course edit it. But if they have not created an account, if it's somebody else's account, they cannot edit it. But there is also another condition to that. If they're administrators, they can do anything. So kind of gets a little bit complicated, but just try to understand is that it is just to stop access for editing the account for the salespeople if they do not have otherwise access from being an administrator or being a member of some other role where this access is granted, then they can do it. Okay, so that is how it works. Then you save it, so then you can see any salespeople in the sales organization logs in, they cannot make any edit to that account. Now the thing is, now we have to have some defaults, right, in the system. So how do we set up the default is this. Okay, I'm sorry, that's a wrong screen. Access default. So what happens when the system is initially given to you? These are the defaults. For accounts, read, no write, no related data, no delete, means everybody can read everybody's account by default, but you cannot write on anybody else's account. No write means you cannot write on anybody else's account. Okay, unless of course, again, every time I say this, if you are an administrator, you can do anything, or somebody has overridden the permission, you can do that. This is the basic permission. If you don't do anything, this will be the set. Now related data means in account, what are the related data in accounts? They are like notes, related emails, related contacts, related contacts of course, and also other things like campaigns and everything. So, and no delete, nobody else can delete other people's account. Okay, now in some cases what happens is, if your organization is very restrictive, you can initially completely restrict it. Okay, you can go in here and remove the read access. So what it means is that if I am a user, I am able to create an account, I will not be able to, or I will be able to read that account. Of course, I created, I'll be able to do anything on that account because I created it, but nobody else in the organization, unless they're an administrator, they can do anything on the account. They can't even see that account. Okay, so that's what it means. So depending on your organization, how your organization works, it is completely open. Anybody can write anything, anybody can delete anything, that's fine, then you can do it. And of course we keep track of all the history there. So that's basically access default. So I have explained you access default, I have explained you how roles work. Okay, and next we are going to a little bit and also I have already explained you how access privileges works here. You can go in here and you don't want this contact to be shown to everybody. Okay, now those are the basic things. So once you set up the system, what you have to do first, you go over here. You first of all you have a planning, right? Who in the organization you want to show something, who will not see it. So once you have made the planning, you go into here, and first thing is that you determine who are the administrators, right? So you first decide who are the administrators will have access to everything. Then you go over here and create some roles here, and based on the roles you can then go to this screen. You can go either from here or go from the role privileges, and then select each of these and then select what access you want to give them. Now there is few things you need to consider. Again, if a person is an administrator, of course he is an administrator. If the person is here, doesn't matter wherever you put that person in, that person will have full access. However, in future if the person is removed from the administrator, then that these roles will kick in, privileges from these roles will kick in. Okay, that is one thing. And the second thing is all users role or all users role. You can put any access there to all users, and then that will be the access there, unless, I mean, suppose say for example what you do is you remove all the accesses from all users. Okay, everything is, can't do anything. Okay, and then you selectively create some roles here and start giving accesses. So that is one way you can just totally control things. By default everything is open, as you have seen here. Okay, every user will see every feature, except for some things which normal users cannot see is the admin part is only reserved for the administrator, because we have a lot of configuration menus here. We don't want to see it, show it to all the users. So that's really concludes the discussion on security in OfficeClip. Thank you for your time.